Imagine waking up to this world where every notification, every bill, every fleeting glance at a billboard feels like a subtle nudge toward despair. Is this by design? Does modern life, shaped by the relentless gears of capitalism, conspire to unravel our mental health? This question isn't just a passing thought, it's a scream echoing in the minds of millions. Let's uncover whether the systems we live by quietly work against our sanity. By the end of this journey, you'll see modern life through a lens that reveals truths you've never considered before. The weight of choice. Why does freedom feel so heavy? Capitalism promises choice, endless products, careers, lifestyles. Yet, psychologist Barry Schwartz, in his book The Paradox of Choice, 2004, argues that excessive options breed anxiety.
With so many options to choose from, people find it very difficult to choose at all.
Each decision, from choosing a toothpaste to a career path, becomes a mini-crisis. When people have too many choices, they feel overwhelmed and dissatisfied, Schwartz writes. Consider this. A 2024 study found that individuals in consumer-driven societies reported higher rates of decision fatigue, correlating with increased depressive symptoms. Every choice is a door, but too many doors can feel like a maze with no exit. Have you ever stood frozen in a supermarket aisle, paralyzed by options? That's not freedom. It's a trap. Time as a commodity. Capitalism commodifies time. The 9-to-5 grind, the gig economy, the hustle culture, they all demand we sell our hours for survival. But what happens when time becomes a currency we can't afford to spend on ourselves? In 19th century England, the Industrial Revolution chained workers to factory clocks, birthing a new kind of exhaustion.
While the Industrial Revolution brought wealth to some and jobs for others, it came with a price tag.
Marx, in Capital, 1867, described this as alienation. Workers disconnected from their labor, their time, their humanity. Fast forward to our time. Studies have indicated that gig workers often face psychosocial risk factors, including overwork, which can contribute to increased stress and potential mental health issues.
They cannot see the outside, living in a very closed, very small world. Only working is existing.
Every tick of the clock pulls us further from meaning. Ask yourself, when was the last time you sat still without guilt gnawing at you? The mirage of success. Capitalism sells a dream. Work hard. Win big. But what if the finish line keeps moving? Social media amplifies this, showcasing curated lives that scream perfection. A 2022 study in the Journal of Affective Disorders reports found that increased social media use among young adults is significantly associated with the development of depression within 6 months. This suggests that constant exposure to curated portrayals of others' lives can fuel feelings of inadequacy. The Stoic philosopher Seneca warned, "You have all the fears of mortals and all the desires of immortals." Today, algorithms feed those desires, curating feeds that make us feel we're never enough. Consider the rise of hustle porn, glorified narratives of sleepless entrepreneurs. The message? If you're not exhausted, you're not trying. But what if exhaustion is the goal, not the byproduct? Community versus competition. Humans are wired for connection, yet capitalism often pits us against each other. The gig economy, for instance, turns peers into competitors. In the 1950s, sociologist Emile Durkheim warned of anomie, a sense of normlessness and isolation in rapidly changing societies. Today, loneliness is a public health crisis. The U.S. Surgeon General's advisory underscores that loneliness and social isolation are significant public health concerns, contributing to increased risks of depression and other mental health issues. Think of urban sprawl, cities designed for efficiency, not community. Apartments stack us like boxes, yet we're strangers to our neighbors. When was the last time you felt truly seen? Not as a worker or consumer, but as a human. Consumption as a drug. Capitalism thrives on consumption, but at what cost to our minds? Neuroscientist Daniel Z. Lieberman, in The Molecule of More, 2018, explains how dopamine drives our pursuit of rewards, new gadgets, likes, sales. But this chase is a treadmill. Research indicates that compulsive buying behaviors are associated with higher levels of anxiety and depression. For instance, a study published in Humanities and Social Sciences Communications found that compulsive buying and internet addiction are linked to various psychological distress factors. The thrill of a purchase fades, leaving a void. Historically, this isn't new. In the 1920s, advertisers began exploiting psychological triggers as Edward Bernays, Freud's nephew, pioneered manipulative marketing. Today, algorithms know your desires before you do. Ever wonder why your phone feels like an extension of your soul? Capitalism often widens the gap between haves and have-nots, and this inequality fuels despair. Economist Thomas Piketty, in Capital in the 21st Century, 2013, showed how wealth concentrates, leaving many feeling powerless. A 2018 systematic review and meta-analysis published in World Psychiatry examined 26 studies, primarily from high-income countries, and found a significant positive relationship between income inequality and the risk of depression. The meta-analysis reported that people living in regions with higher income inequality had a 19% greater risk of developing depression compared to those in more equal societies. Picture this: in the Gilded Age, tycoons flaunted wealth while workers starved. Today, billionaires rocket to space while gig workers skip meals. The system isn't broken. It's built this way. How does it feel to live in a world where your worth is tied to your wealth? Disconnected from our roots. Modern life pulls us from nature, a silent but profound loss. Eco-psychologist Theodore Roszak, in The Voice of the Earth, 1992, argued that severing our bond with nature fosters existential despair. A 2024 study from Texas A&M University suggests that exposure to green spaces in urban areas has positive benefits for mental health. This supports the idea that limited access to green spaces is associated with higher depressive symptoms among urban dwellers. Historically, industrialization uprooted rural communities, forcing them into smog-choked cities. Today, screens replace skies. When did you last touch soil or hear birdsong without earbuds? Capitalism profits from this disconnect, selling us nature in bottles. Think organic smoothies or forest-scented candles. What are we running from? Let's pause and ask, why do we accept this? Socrates urged us to question the unexamined life. Are we so busy surviving that we forget to live? Capitalism rewards distraction, scrolling, buying, working, because a distracted mind doesn't question the system. Philosopher Byung-Chul Han, in The Burnout Society, 2015, writes, "The violence of positivity leads to a society of exhaustion. We're not just tired, we're spiritually depleted. What if the real depression isn't just chemical, but a cry for meaning in a world that sells us substitutes? The hidden design." Here's the unsettling question. Is this by design? No shadowy cabal orchestrates depression, but systems self-perpetuate. Capitalism thrives when we're insatiable, anxious, isolated. A content person doesn't need to buy happiness. Research indicates that brands often develop strategies that consider consumer vulnerabilities, including marketing self-care products that appeal to emotional needs. In the 1950s, Vance Packard's The Hidden Persuaders exposed how advertisers exploit subconscious fears. Today, algorithms do it better. Ever notice how ads seem to know your darkest insecurities? Reclaiming our minds. But there's light in this shadow. History shows resilience. In the 1930s, the Great Depression birthed mutual aid societies, communities supporting each other outside capitalist constraints. Today, movements like minimalism or slow living challenge the hustle. A 2024 study from the University of Bath found that short bursts of daily mindfulness can boost well-being and combat depression and anxiety, supporting the idea that mindfulness practices reduce depression by fostering purpose over consumption. What if we redefined success, not by wealth, but by connection, creativity, presence? As poet Mary Oliver asks, "Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Who are we without this system?" This journey leaves us with a mirror. Modern life, sculpted by capitalism, isn't a monolith. It's a choice. Each step, overwork, comparison, isolation, nudges us toward despair, but not inevitably. By questioning, connecting, and redefining meaning, we can resist. The system isn't a god, it's a machine we built. So, let's ask, as Socrates would, what kind of life do we want to live? And what are we willing to dismantle to get there? This inquiry doesn't end here. It's a call to look deeper, to question every assumption, to reclaim the pieces of ourselves capitalism claims. The truth isn't just out there. It's within us, waiting to be uncovered.